block on Jason Tatum. He's coming at you. He is relentless.
Not up in here.
Look at that.
Giannis ain't going for it.
That's why he's #1 in the MVP race. He gets it done on both ends. At least in my book, he's #1.
Agreed. Kings, Warriors, Kevin Durant. Take a look at another chase down block on Buddy Hield.
That's a heck of a play by the best player in the world.
Ooh.
Yeah, you heard it. You heard it.
Wow.
You heard it. It's that time.
Is it Nick's
It's Kevin Durant's time.
Wow.
Just saying.
How long has you been thinking that?
Just saying.
Blazers. Blazers, Nets. I saw this one up close, and not a good ending for the Nets, but Yusuf Nurkic. Look at that throwdown.
Yusuf, because remember last year, wasn't he on the other end of one of those by LeBron?
Was he?
Yeah, he was, I believe so, by LeBron. It was nasty. And so I'm glad to see Yusuf get his. And Jared Allen is a heck of a shot blocker.
He's blocked just about everyone.
Yeah, he didn't have a chance on that one, though.
No.
He didn't have a chance.
He's in the
poster,
though. He's
late sliding over. Lakers,
he
Rockets.
officially got dunked on.
Playoff LeBron, he called it. He's been activated, and it shows. Look at this.
I like the thrust at the end.
Yeah.
That added an extra 2 points to it.
Yeah, he put a little something on that one. He was trying to send a message right there.
Cover some ground. Moving on to Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, is hitting the final year of his contract. And one would assume he would want to be a Seahawk for life, but friend of the show, Colin Cowherd, proposed an interesting theory about the Seattle quarterback. Take a listen.
The rumor I'm going to tell you about, I was told this yesterday. This is happening in the entertainment agent world. Everybody will deny it. It's not good to be out now. But Russell Wilson's wife is Ciara. She is a singer and an entertainer. She would prefer to live in New York. And the Giants need a quarterback. And there's nobody in the draft they love. So just remember this. A lot of things add up. Last year of Russell's contract, his wife would prefer New York. Seattle is not an entertainment mecca. Okay? New York the Giants need a star quarterback to replace Eli.
Seattle is not an entertainment mecca. Canny, is it crazy to think that Russell Wilson wants out of Seattle?
Yeah, that's crazy to think. Because the Seattle Seahawks, John Schneider and Pete Carroll, have handed him the franchise right now. So and when's the last time you've seen a franchise quarterback in his prime get traded or let walk in free agency? It just doesn't happen, Chris. So, I mean, I'm looking at this situation right now. I think this is more speculation, more conjecture, and there's nothing like motivating your team to give you some fresh cash with your team floating the rumor out there that you want to go play elsewhere. So I think a lot of this has to do with Russell Wilson wanting to get his new contract in 2019, get an extension. You saw Aaron Rodgers got the extension before last football season. He's getting $34 million a year. Russell Wilson is looking at the $22 million he's making and saying, it's about time for that pay raise. So, I mean, I think that's really what all of this comes down to, is the Seattle Seahawks locking up Russell Wilson throughout the rest of his prime, because you're talking about a Super Bowl winning quarterback that's 31 years old. I mean, he's got another good 8 to 10 years left in him to play football if he wants to. So I don't envision Russell Wilson playing for another team. So I think that this is something where the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson will make sure that they continue this relationship moving forward.
I wouldn't be mad at him for doing what his beautiful wife wants to do. She wants to go to New York. Look, all the reports are that he hasn't talked to the Seahawks about this at all, that there's no inkling that he wants out. And as you said, look, we'll know this summer. I mean, they're certainly going to start talks this summer and try to lock him up. Yeah, I mean, look, Seattle's been great for him. It's his franchise. They got rid of the guys that were kind of, at odds with him in the locker room. It's his team. I personally would love to see him in New York. You give him, I mean, with OBJ, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, he could do major damage there. And I think he has the mentality, the maturity, the temperament to handle New York. He's the adult in the room. And Eli's kind of like that. Eli's not, he's a little different personality than Russell, but he's a solid character guy that you don't have to worry about being able to handle New York City. Russell would be the same thing. Look, it might be a total fantasy, with Colin, but I would love to see. I kind of hope it's true.
Well, you saw OBJ catching passes from Russell Wilson because they've been working out this offseason.
Whether it's true or not, how do you think that Russell would fit with the Giants?
I think it'd be a perfect fit, because the issue for the Giants has been on the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line not keeping the quarterback upright. But Russell Wilson, based on his skill set and being able to extend plays with his legs, he would be able to overcome that deficiency. So, yeah, Russell Wilson would absolutely fit with the New York Giants. There aren't too many teams where Russell Wilson wouldn't fit as the quarterback, because you're talking about one of the elite quarterbacks in our game. I mean, on anybody's list, he should be top 5. I think Russell Wilson is just that special. So, I mean, yeah, would Russell Wilson fit with the New York Giants? Absolutely. And the glut of talent that they have at the skill positions with Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram and OBJ and Saquon Barkley, who led the NFL in yards from scrimmage. I mean, that would be a really dynamic offense.
What about the Seahawks? Are they set up to succeed next season?
I didn't think they were set up to succeed this season. And he's that good. I mean, he can make lemonade out of lemons, and that's what he did. So they obviously have work to do. They have to add some pieces around him. But as long as they have him in the mix, and Pete Carroll, he just signed an extension, so he'll be there for a while. Yeah, they're not going away. I mean, the time for them to go away was this year, and they showed that they're not. So, yeah, I think they're going to be in that playoff hunt for the next few years.
Yeah, I think they were retooling this team. Defensively, they had to overcome a lot of losses. Of course, Richard Sherman has been gone. Cam Chancellor couldn't play this year. Earl Thomas got hurt earlier in the season. So, I mean, it was Bobby Wagner, Frank Clark, and others. And so I think it was a little tough for them to be able to make a push, but they still found themselves in the playoffs, and that's behind Russell Wilson, but also behind a really strong running game. Keep in mind, that was the #1 rush offense in the National Football League. So, yeah, they need another playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. I think Antonio Brown would be really interesting. Couple him with Doug Baldwin. I think that could be something that works out for the Seattle Seahawks. But I think this is the offseason that they'll add some pieces for Russell, because they got some cap space to work with. They have the 8th most cap space going into free agency at the start of the new league year in March. So I think the Seattle Seahawks are in a really good spot.
So, Chris, would you, if you're Seattle, are you going hard for Antonio? You got the cap room. He wants some guaranteed money. Would you go hard at him? What would you offer?
Yeah, listen, I got to make life a little bit easier for Russell Wilson. Now it's a matter of the compensation going back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you got to think that the Steelers would probably be motivated to send Antonio Brown out of the AFC. They don't want to have him being on one of their direct competitors, especially when it gets to the postseason. So, I mean, you're probably talking about a late first-round pick or, you know, a high second-round pick in terms of the value that Antonio Brown would warrant. But I think
late first might get it.
I think the Seattle Seahawks could make something like that work out, because when you look at the NFL draft and the prospects coming out of the college ranks, there really aren't a whole lot of playmakers in terms of the wide receiver position. So I think this would give Russell Wilson another toy and make things a lot easier on the offensive side.
Do you think he and Wilson would, because, you know, Richard Sherman and some guys like that had issues with Russell, you think Antonio and Russell are a good fit personality-wise?
Well, I think from a leadership standpoint, Russell Wilson is, I guess, a better complement for what Antonio Brown is from the personality standpoint and from a production standpoint. Because keep in mind, Ben Roethlisberger wasn't the hardest worker on the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was Antonio Brown. But all of the things that we've heard from the Seattle Seahawks is that Russell Wilson works harder than anybody else in the building. So I think that Antonio Brown being in that situation, especially if they decide they're going to give him some more guaranteed money on his contract, I think AB would be happy with that. And then, of course, Russell Wilson